Hello, everybody, and welcome in to That Damn Baseball Show with Blue Jays today and Ballcap Sports. Holy mother of God, everybody. I thought that free agency, I thought that drama was over. I thought that we were going to be scrounging for video ideas until freaking March 30th. Nay, 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 everybody. There was some stuff that went down today. Literal soap opera stuff. I'm so excited to be here with y'all, with you, Jimmy, and talking about all this. If you haven't already, hit that like, smash the subscribe button. This is going to be a good one. How you doing today, Jim?
I'm doing good. It is so busy for January 10th with the trades, Blue Jays making moves, the Carlos Correa situation, most importantly, and I'm enjoying it. As a baseball content creator, I am enjoying it. This is my fourth contribution to my channel today. This is number 4.
Yeah, baby.
So now tomorrow there may be nothing. So the days that you get overrun with stuff, it's good. You got to go with it because tomorrow the news cycle might be dry and I may not have any big projects close enough to being uploaded. So I'm taking it. It's been a busy day. It's been a good day.
Soak it in. Absolutely, man. Well, we're excited to be here with you tonight and go through all the news. Why don't we start with the absolute biggest news to absolutely break baseball today? Let's go. Let's talk about Correa to the Twins. Because I thought the Mets had him. I saw so many Twitter posts, so many articles of like, oh, yeah, from Mets Nation that they are going to lock down Correa. And what happened? Slipped through the fingers. Jimmy, give me your insight. Like, let's talk about what went wrong.
Hold up. Before you even jump in there, Jim, I got to correct Adam right here, man.
What?
When you started off that tangent, you just said the biggest baseball news today. This might be the biggest baseball news in like 5 years, man. I have never seen any roller coaster of a storyline like this, like literally in any sport, in a long, long time, man. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, where do you even start? Following this thing from the beginning, going back to the San Francisco deal falling apart, the Mets deal. The Mets swooping in there. This is the piece we need. So here we go. We got it. And then they couldn't get it done. What surprised me the most, the biggest takeaway from this is that the Mets wouldn't match. They were $42 million apart. What the Twins got Correa for on the guaranteed level and what the Mets were offering. And the Mets would not match. Whether they were given the opportunity to match, I got to think they were. This thing dragged out with the Mets for weeks. So they had to have been given the opportunity to at least match what the Twins were offering. I think that, this is if there was an agent that had been bred for this situation, Scott Boras was the guy. But I'm surprised that the Mets wouldn't match. Rarely will you ever see the Mets and Steve Cohen miss out on a player over money. They didn't have the biggest offer, but that maybe is telling you that the Mets wanted out of that. They're like, this is damaged goods. We don't want anything to do with this. They wanted him to pass a physical every year to secure, so nothing was going to be guaranteed. I mean, that was 162 or whatever it was, but it really wasn't. It was just every year he was going to have to take another piss test to make sure that he could collect at for the next season. So there's so much that is kind of surprising about how it all went down. But in the end, I think the Mets were looking at it like, this is damaged goods. We don't want to be in the business with Carlos Correa.
And if I'm not mistaken, like I feel like the Mets can save that money, go out and get another player. Nick was telling me right before, so I got to credit Nick on this, but Machado potentially being a free agent next season, was that some sort of speculation that maybe let's pass on the damaged goods like you're saying in Carlos Correa, and let's go get someone who is clearly not damaged and excelling at the age that he is in Manny Machado.
No doubt about it. Michael Moreno he knows things. He's connected. He was on Twitter reporting that internally the Mets, as the Correa thing was winding down, were having internal conversations about the availability of Manny Machado. Now, that's not going to be this offseason. That's not going to be during the season. That's going to be next offseason, because even if Machado opts out, Padres aren't going to trade him. So you're looking at, 10 months down the road for that, but it's a safer bet. It's a safer bet, and it's a better player offensively and defensively.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And I mean, also, we already have seen some speculation popping up on Twitter, and I think this might even be a little bit too early to jump to conclusions like this, but you got to factor in, obviously, Shohei Ohtani is going to be available next year. You're going to have some other big players available next year. When they went out and they got Carlos Correa, I think that the New York Mets, I think that Steve Cohen was chilling in Hawaii. He was in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
He was in Hawaii. I think he was chilling over there. He was sipping a few pina coladas, and he was thinking, "Holy shit, we can get this incredible player at a discount. Let's snatch it up," and then deal with the problem later. And I think that they did exactly that. And then they realized, oh damn, maybe this juice just is not worth the squeeze. Let's get out of here.
I'm really curious, because like the problem with Correa, I believe it's with his ankle, if I'm not mistaken. And what I am curious to see how this plays out for the Twins. I mean, they got it for 6 years, $200 million. You could get up to 270. Like, is this going to be a problem, an ongoing problem, where he's got to go off and like go on the IR multiple times? Does he just get surgery eventually? Like, is this like, I'm wondering what the Twins, what they're thinking is here. I guess the thinking is, we got our guy. Yeah. Let's hope that he stays healthy. Like, I don't know. I feel like all the doctors saying that he's not going to stay healthy. You know what I mean?
Think about it this way. The Twins needed Carlos Correa more than the Mets needed Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
The Mets are coming off a 100-win season, and I would argue that the Mets are getting better this year over last year, even with the departures of Bassett and Walker. I think that this and DeGrom, they're better. Bringing in Verlander, bringing in Quintana, everything that the Mets have done, you're going to see Alvarez, Vientos, and Beatty get some serious playing time. So I think the Mets are going to might be better. Doesn't mean they're going to win more games, but from a talent standpoint, I think they're getting better. So the Mets did not have that same desire to bring Carlos Correa on board that the Twins do. The Twins are trying to fight to make the postseason. And so they need Carlos Correa for that. I'm saying this. I said it in my stream earlier. I will believe that Carlos Correa saga is done when they are having a press conference and Carlos Correa is being introduced with Scott Boras on one side, Twins leadership on the other. That is when I will believe this is done, because
thank you.
I am under the belief this is my thing. I've been banging this drum for a couple weeks now that the Giants hold up, the Mets hold up was about insurance. I believe that those two franchises could not get the leg insured by a third-party insurer, and the Twins are going to have the same problem. But the Twins might say, whatever. We're moving forward. We will assume the risk ourselves.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I just want to throw it out there. Is there a reality that this whole saga continues and the Twins are considering backing out, or does this feel like the end?
Well, the Twins know what's going on, right? They've seen it with the Giants. They've seen it with the Mets. They have to know the bed that they're getting. I mean, they just had the player. It is true that the doctors are in their physical, their staff, they're going to know and be more familiar with Correa than anybody else. But again, I think the holdup was more about the insurance element, and the Twins might feel more comfortable assuming all of the risk than the Mets and the Giants were.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. And honestly, like, spoiler alert here, like I literally, after all this news broke, I wrote down a little title in my title YouTube video thing saying Carlos Correa did the New York Mets a favor. So I think at the end of the day, frankly, he was not worth all that money that they offered him. No. So if they're going to go out, they're going to spend that money on Shohei Ohtani or Manny Machado, then I think that they're probably better off doing that. Any final thoughts on Correa to the Twins, gentlemen?
Honestly, I'm kind of going to ditto you on that. Like, Mets, I know it's shocking right now, and a lot of Mets fans are shocked, but That's a lot of, and I know money doesn't mean anything to you, but you got to save that money and get something more guaranteed. So I agree. This could be a W.
Yeah.
I think it's a blessing in disguise at the end of the day. I'm not a Mets fan, not trying to find the positive here. I believe this is a blessing in disguise. Andy Martino, Mets fans don't like him, but Andy Martino was on SNY. They did a little YouTube 2-minute upload, and he was talking about how the Mets philosophy is to sign veteran players outside of one or two instances to do what the Dodgers do. Go high AAV on short-term contracts with veteran players and develop your top prospects. That's what the Mets are trying to do. That's when you look at what they have on the field, that's a lot of what they've done. That's what the Dodgers are doing. This was going to be a step out of that to bring Carlos Correa in. You move on from that. You get back into your mode. Like I said, you're now going to get, probably at least double the at-bats for Brett Baty and Mark Vientos and maybe even Francisco Alvarez than you would have prior. So I'm, again, blessing in disguise for the Mets.
I agree, gentlemen. Let's move on to some Blue Jays news that we had breakdown here, man. We've been like this silent killer over the last week, Jimmy. Like, there's been so many tiny little Blue Jays updates and news. And, I mean, they're going under the radar here. This one definitely bubbled to the surface, but they're going under the radar. But I like a lot of what the Jays are doing right now. We're being sneaky. And this one is a really nice one. Brandon Belt to the Jays, along with a trade that went down earlier today. Zach Thompson, we got him. We brought him in from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Adam, what do you think about those moves?
Well, let's start with Bell. I mean, for those who are following us on Blue Jays today, we obviously broke this down last night. I was already halfway into bed, and this happened, but we talked about it. My sum up thoughts, I'm really curious about Jim's. My sum up thoughts is just, this is a great bench bat depth. You know, he could be a DH. If God forbid somebody gets injured in the outfield, or Vladimir Guerrero Jr., knock on wood, then, yeah, you got Brandon Belt, who's been to the World Series twice. Well, he's won the World Series twice.
Yeah.
He's a veteran guy, and I like him. I really can't complain. I mean, money's not an issue, right? Everyone's kind of focused on the $9.3 million. 1 year. We are going to put on our Steve Cohen hats and pretend like that doesn't matter. We like Brandon Belt. What do you think, Jimmy?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I never thought I was going to love Brandon Belt, but I do.
Right?
Here's why. When we were on the phone talking after the Blue Jays lost to the Mariners, what did I want? What did I tell you guys I wanted? I wanted lefty bats. I wanted veteran playoff experience. I wanted guys in that clubhouse, in that dugout that have done it before. And I threw Kevin Kiermaier out way back then, and Kevin Kiermaier happened. I didn't throw out Brandon Belt because I didn't think it was a possibility. Even as of yesterday morning, I really didn't feel like Brandon Belt was going to be the fit. I thought there were 2 or 3 other destinations that made more sense for him. But the Blue Jays ponied up the most money, get the deal done, and you get a guy with Brandon Belt, 2 World Series championships, like you said. I believe it's 150-plus playoff plate appearances. That's going to be huge with Kiermaier and Belt now in that clubhouse with postseason veteran leadership. That's going to be absolutely huge. The way now that this lineup's going to go out there, because I think Brandon Belt's going to play a lot. I don't know if he's going to necessarily be a bench bat. I think we're going to see a lot of Brandon Belt, because with Belt, it makes the Varsho trade and the Varsho addition even better, because just Dalton Varsho alone didn't do it for me. Because you go through that lineup, if you're a pitcher, we don't see a ton of lefties because of the type of lineup. So now maybe we'll see more left-handed, necessarily adjust your rotation to make sure it's all righties coming up against Toronto. But the point is, you're now going to go through the lineup. And yes, you're going to go Springer, Bo, and Vladdy, but then you might have Varsho right there. And then you'll see maybe Kirk, and then you'll have Belt right there. And then you'll see maybe Point is, you're going to go righty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, left. You're going to have the opportunity to throw a lefty bat out there, and that is going to force the pitcher to get out of any kind of muscle memory rhythm where they're just dotting low and away, whether it's a curveball, slider, changeup, whatever. It's not going to be able to do that for at least 3 of the hitters. There could be games we have 4 lefty bats out there if you have Biggio starting. So I love this for all of those reasons. I think this is a great addition for the Blue Jays. I think another one. I have so many. Think about Cody Bellinger. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger. I want Cody Bellinger on the team. Who do you think has a higher floor on what they can deliver in 2023? Cody Bellinger or Brandon Belt? I want to know who has a higher ceiling, because the ceiling is Bellinger, but the higher floor is Belt.
It's Belt. I agree.
Yes. When you look at Cody Bellinger's numbers from last year, I think he hit like 210 with 19 home runs. Do you think we could get 19 home runs with a 250, 260 batting average? And oh, by the way, Brandon Belt walks. So there is a lot to like about Brandon Belt. Anybody that was really pumped for Cody Bellinger, I think, listen, the ceiling is higher with Bellinger, but there's also a very low floor. That thing's in the basement. It is bench worthy if it gets really bad for Cody Bellinger. Brandon Belt's a nice piece. Cody Bellinger would have been a project. Brandon Belt is going to be a staple in the line. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Let me add on to that. Bellinger would have been a project that's had to start every single day. Where Belt, if he fails, he's on the bench. Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? So you got me more hyped up, Jimmy. You got
I love it. I really do.
I'm more hyped now.
I can't do the same. I can't do the same thing for the trade that the Blue Jays made. I got nothing on that one.
Okay. Quick little thing here. I quickly made a minute monologue at work. It was very quick. I had to get back, and I had no time to really digest thoughts. So if y'all saw it, shout out to y'all. I just said, he's bad. Continue on with your Tuesday afternoons, because I had no words. But let's talk about it a bit more in depth.
Yeah. Like, I got to look at it a little bit, and here's my thinking, folks. Thompson, Jimmy has a baseball card. It's autographed from him. I'll tell you right now, dude, it's not ever going to be worth anything at all. You will not.
Come on.
Don't crush him like that.
You will not get your money back for that baseball card. But you know what else might not really be worth anything? Maybe this is sending this guy short. But Chavez Young, the guy who we traded for this guy, Thompson, he was not even in our top 30 prospects. No. This was literally just a guy that we sent away. Like, a guy that, had he not been involved in a trade, I never would have even known that we owned. So as far as I'm concerned, like, no, we're not getting a stud player back here. No, we might not see him, come in and start a game for us. Hell, he might not even be in the majors. But we didn't give up literally anything at all, in my opinion. So as far as I'm concerned, at least we got a guy who Jimmy has an autographed baseball card for.
And you know what? I'll vouch for him a tiny bit. He has major league experience. Yeah. Right? He's got major league experience. He was somewhat good being you even said it before we went live, Jimmy, but like a Ross Stripling type of role where he can come out of the pen, he can start a few games, get a couple spot starts like a sixth man or come in for injury. So it's depth. And you can't really complain when your management goes and gets depth. A lot of people just say, oh, this is a horrible move. But like, these are the moves that really make up the whole organization. So I guess it's fine.
He made his debut in 2021 with the Marlins, pitched to a 3.24 ERA, which isn't bad. 26 total appearances, 14 starts. Spent most of last year with Pittsburgh. The ERA was up over 5. So and he's entering his age 29 season. So it's not like, he's 25. Maybe there's still some upside to uncover here. So he probably is who he is. But like you said, to give up basically nothing to get this guy, to add depth, to add another arm, because what was one of the problems I felt last year with the club is when they needed to go to the minors to try to bring somebody up, whoever that was, it just kept getting roughed up. At least this guy, maybe you'll have a better chance with him. But again, they gave up nothing.
Well, I'll put it this way, guys. I'll put it this way. Thompson's ceiling is a 3.24 ERA in, however many appearances he had that year. Chavez Young's ceiling is maybe he makes double A. I have no idea.
I mean, we're crapping on Chavez Young. I don't know.
Yeah, I probably am a little bit. But it's just like, we're talking about a guy who literally never would have had a major league impact with us last year at all. This guy might. So in that regard, I do think it's a good trade. And it's little trades like this. It's little trades that like mean hardly anything at the time that you're doing them, that then you look back and it's like, oh crap, like did we ever expect Ross Stripling to be as good as Ross Stripling was last year? Like I sure as hell didn't. Did we ever expect, Robbie Ray to be as good as Robbie Ray was when he came up? Now I'm not saying this guy's going to win Cy Young or anything ridiculous like that.
No, right.
But who knows?
No, I literally,
maybe he'll surprise someone.
I remember, maybe this might be TMI for everyone listening, but I remember in 2021, I said if Robbie Ray wins Cy Young, I'm going to eat my crap. I'm going to eat my own crap.
Yeah.
And I still haven't done that because that's actually really unhealthy. And
don't do it.
So I probably won't. But I just know that that's there. Also, someone in our chat said, Jimmy, what are you wearing on your head?
I am paying off a debt. I'm paying off a debt. Me and Ratchet Dawn way back in the postseason made a bet. I told him I would eat a hat if the Mariners beat the Blue Jays, and obviously I'm not going to do that. So to pay off my bet, I am wearing a Mariners hat for the duration of this stream today.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense. You have to do the bet.
That's what we're doing.
Fair enough. Guys, sorry, Jimmy, you go ahead.
I was going to say, quick shout out to Michael. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Michael was late watching the Conforto introduction. It's all good, Michael. I'm glad you're here now, and thank you for the donation.
Cool, man. I was literally just going to say, before we move on to the next piece of news, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button and smash the subscribe button, then definitely do it. We're close to 100 likes over here, so please hit that like button. Definitely hit the like button over at Jimmy's stream, Ballcap Sports, and make sure that you're subscribed to both because there's quality content coming out on both channels on the daily.
Yeah, I need those in the chat. I need you guys. I need you. We got to get close to 100. Hit that like if you haven't. We got to have a like spike. We got to get close to 100. I need you guys in the chat to hit that like. Really, really help things out here. Let's go. Let's go.
Yep, let's do it. What else do we got, Jimmy?
We have a deal that is it flying under the radar? I don't know if anybody is flying under the radar at this point, if it's a no name, but we have yesterday the Marlins signed Johnny Cueto. And I think that's fine and all. But what we want to talk about here in this one is the trade implication, because now the Miami Marlins have 6 quality, ready to go starters on day one. And that does not include Sixto Sanchez, who should be back this year. So you have a lot of starters in Miami. There's been rumors that 4 of them are available, basically, if you're not named Sandy Alcantara. So I guess the question is to you guys, I'll pose, is there a Marlins pitcher? At this point, the Blue Jays are probably out. I guess we can't 100% rule it out, but which Miami starter would you expect to see moved? I think it's really down to 2 guys. It's either Pablo Lopez or Jesus Luzardo. Which one do you think gets moved?
See, I've heard rumors about almost every single one of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't really choose which one I think is going to get moved. I really do think it's going to come down to the team, what they see in certain player and what they're willing to pay. Because I know you're saying Blue Jays might or might not be involved in a trade. And I think for Pablo Lopez, I don't think so. I think we pretty much flexed a lot of or expended a lot of our farm system. I don't really see us making a big move, but like maybe if we like shoot a shot at a Trevor Rogers, for example, maybe shoot like a lower bullet like that, like maybe hope for a bounce back for sure. Honestly, it could be. I'm going to say stay neutral. Say anyone.
So I'll come out and say that the only one that I'm almost confident will definitely not get traded is Trevor Rogers. And I think that thinking about it from a Miami standpoint, it's like this guy was so damn good, the previous year, and then had such a floor that was hit in last season. I just feel like you got to kind of hold out for what could be. Like an ace in this league. Like clearly he's shown it before. He is capable of doing that. Yeah. I wouldn't want to trade him at this point when his value's lower like that. He's got so much time left. You know what he's capable of. Bad years happen, right? Like bad seasons happen to all good players at some point or another. So the only one that I don't think that they're going to trade is Trevor Rogers. The other ones, Yeah, like I do feel like Pablo Lopez is probably the most likely because he is the name that's got thrown around the most. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked about Luzardo. I wouldn't be shocked about Cabrera.
I'll say one more thing before you give your take, Jimmy. I will say I do think there is going to be a trade in the next month or so.
100%.
Like, there's no reason why you pick up Cueto not to make a trade. So 100%, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there will be a trade. I would bet that it will be Pablo Lopez. And one of the reasons why I'm gonna plant my flag on the Pablo Lopez hill is that Lopez is a free agent 2 years before Jesus Luzardo is a free agent. So when we're looking at Control, now Control can help bring a better package back. But if you're Miami and you're thinking about your financials, you move Pablo Lopez at this point. And we're at the same with Rodgers. I don't think you want to trade Rodgers because he's coming off a bad year. I don't know who would want to get in business with Trevor Rodgers at this point because of that season. He's got to get his mechanics back. He's got to get back on track. Edward Cabrera, until he made that, I don't know, how many starts did he make last year? Like a dozen, something like that. He had been sent back down because of control problems. So he's a very enticing arm, but I think Pablo Lopez is the one that makes the most sense just because he'll be the first one that the dollar amount's going to start to go up and he'll be a free agent sooner. So I do think it'll be Pablo Lopez. There's certainly a ton of teams that could go for him at this point, and I'm with you. I think that in the next month, I think before spring training, before pitchers and catchers report, I mean, we've got the World Baseball Classic. Does that speed things up here or not? I do think something. I do for sure think something happens.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, the World Baseball Classic is right around the corner. I feel like a lot of moves might need to be made.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think that we'll have something, and I think that the Johnny Cueto signing only puts it more on the forefront. I do have a super chat from Rocky Adams. Thank you for the donation, my friend. Rocky, an OG here on the channel, goes back to the early days. Shai Davidi said, "Don't be surprised if the Jays acquire a late inning reliever with some swing and miss." Is that Hicks? Do you guys want Hicks?
So I'll tell you right now, like we actually have some people in the chat talking about this as we speak. Andrew Chafin is definitely on our list of relievers that we're interested in, and Alex Reyes is a guy who
Reyes. That's who I meant, not Hicks. Reyes.
Yeah. Reyes is definitely up there for me as a guy that I'm interested in taking a flyer on. You know what, Jimmy? You've watched enough Jays games to know, man. Like, we love those Simber type molds, but like, screw it, dude. Just give me the fastball. Like, give me the 101. Like, so I'm sick and tired of these guys who can throw junk all over the place, and then it's walk city. When they're off a little bit, it's walk city, and I hate it. I want somebody who can just fire a fastball down there, and my stuff is going to be your stuff. And it's like, when we're in a jam, there's two people on base. Let's just throw this guy out there and have him throw, 4 straight fastballs, and they won't be able to hit it.
We've seen it time and time again. Like, velo can just get you out of a jam. Like, you're seeing like soft stuff, like, not saying Manoah stuff is soft, but compared to a 1-on-1, and then, Manoah's in a jam. It's in the 6th, it's in the 7th. Get him out, boom, throwing 101. We're good. I want that. You know what? And I do think that we are going to make one more bullpen move. We talked about this last night when the Brandon Belt news came out. Are the Blue Jays done? I think one more late inning bullpen guy. You can't ever have enough bullpen guys, and our depth would be absolutely incredible after that.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
I think that's really at this point, that's the position to add. Chafin would be good. I'm just trying to think about who else you could go for that's really
anybody.
We're getting towards the end.
Anybody have a whip of one? Just one.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Blue Jay, come here.
I'm with you. Yeah, we got to get something more for sure. All right, let's move off of Marlins and Johnny Cueto, and let's get to our final story, and that is the Boston Red Sox have another just They can't. I feel like that team. I mean, you get the good news with Rafi Devers, but then more bad news comes right around the corner, and it's that Trevor Story has had UCL surgery and is expected to miss 4 to 6 months.
Yikes!
I mean, guys, your reaction?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I really didn't read up a whole lot on this one, so it is bare reaction right here. But that really does, like, that's just the worst, man. Like, I'll crap on Boston's management all the time. Like, I do think that they've mismanaged their team, but obviously this has absolutely nothing to do with that whatsoever. This is a good player who they need to have in their squad every single day, who's got, screwed over by injury. So, like, speediest of recoveries. Do we know, what would that put him on pace for?
4 to 6 months.
He's gonna miss June, July.
Maybe All-Star break could be a good realistic option.
Okay, I mean, like, that's bad, but it's not horrible. Yeah, I hope that he just comes back good and can do the best for the team.
And I agree. And like, look, losing Trevor Story isn't the pitfall of your team. Like, and there's a lot more problems, obviously. I mean, we didn't really see Trevor Story that much last year anyways. But I mean, if they got rid of Xander, they didn't get Xander back, right? So then I guess Trevor Story would have been your starting shortstop on opening day. But now, well, I don't know who you throw out there, but regardless, this could put Boston in a bit of a hole, especially if they do decide to trade Chris Sale away. I feel like even with the additions they did make, I don't know. If they fall in a hole early, it's not going to matter whether Trevor Story comes back by All-Star break.
I think the problem is that Trevor Story missed a ton of games last year to injury. Now he's going to start the year on the IL. So you really need him to be healthy every single game after he gets back. You can't lose another month of Trevor Story if you lose the first 2 months of the season to injury. Right now, Fangraphs has Kike Hernandez slotted as the shortstop. I think maybe at this point, maybe they would have been in good shape if they still had Jeter Downs on the team to at least give him a shot.
What?
But that ship has sailed.
I totally forgot that happened, man.
Yeah. So it's a mess there. But the problem is that this was looming. This was something that was looming. We started to see in 2021, we see the metrics that his arm strength was on the decline, and then it continued in 2022.
Yeah.
So it was just going the wrong direction. So the Red Sox signed him knowing that this was a looming issue. God, can I tell you something? Red Sox fans, would you rather have Xander Bogaerts or Trevor Story at this point? And I know your answer. I'm asking a question I already know the answer to. That is a position they could have been in if last year they didn't get cute and sign Xander Bogaerts' replacement before the fact. Because now, who would you rather have, Bogaerts or Story? You'd rather have Bogaerts 10 times out of 10. And they don't have Bogaerts. They have Trevor Story, who is now going to miss more games during the regular season due to injury. And that's just a bad look. The lineup for Boston is fascinating right now. You've got the top. This is their lineup. A ton of questions. Masataka Yoshida, Kike Hernandez, then Devers, Justin Turner in the 4 spot, Verdugo, Cassis, Arroyo, McGuire,
Wanky,
and Jaron Duran. This team is in trouble.
Lineup.
This lineup is it is it the worst lineup in the American League East? I mean,
well, you don't know
what you have with Yoshida, right? You don't know. You got to see what he can do against Major League pitching. We've seen every Japanese, Korean hitter come over to the States, and it takes time. It can take an entire season until they get good. So you may have Yoshida. This could be a transition year, right? We saw it with Seiya Suzuki. We saw it with Ha-Sung Kim. We see it consistently. Kike Hernandez is streaky as hell. You can have him as your number 2 spot. Then Devers is a monster. Justin Turner last year, great second half, but the first half was trash. Alex Verdugo, again, I like him. He's a nice ball player. Tristan Cassis, he can draw walks. He can mash the ball. But what are you going to – there's
There's too many
unknowns.
I mean, I think it's very fair to say at this point, this is not a hot take even in the slightest, but, Boston, last place, American League East. I would lock it in right now.
Yeah.
I feel like it. I honestly, I know we've been like crapping all over Boston this offseason, and I just honestly, I just feel bad. I know I see them trying, especially with the Devers signing, they're trying to hold this team together, but I really think that like last year was the beginning, and this year you're going to see a huge just collapse, and then they got to pick up the pieces. I don't know where honestly, I don't know what you do. Do you go back to development? Do you develop more prospects? Do you sell some guys? I really don't know what you do. Do you hope that what guys you have are going to perform? It's really sad. I'm sorry, Boston fans. It's just a mess, man.
I think you just got to be bad for a little while. You got to be bad, and you got to hope that some guys like show up and do really good. Can Casas develop even more? Can Verdugo get better than what he's been?
You need some breakouts.
You got to have your Japanese player like really pan out and do well. You got to make a Chris Sale trade, and you got to hope that you can do all this. And probably not this year, probably not next year, but are you good again the year after that? I don't know. I feel bad, but I also don't feel that bad, man. Like, they won a World Series 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, if we could win a World Series, like, and
then we fall apart, sure.
Whatever. Like, that's the trade-off, man. Yeah. It's tough to be good for a long time.
Yeah.
The Red Sox made this bed, right? This is the bed they made. Their rotation has a 34-year-old, a soon-to-be 34-year-old, a soon-to-be 37-year-old, another 34-year-old, a soon-to-be 30. They've Garrett Whitlock, who is in his mid-20s, and I know there's Brian Bayo looming as well, but you don't have much like longevity with this rotation. This is a team that needs to trade for Pablo Lopez, kind of circling back to that thought. This is a team that needs to trade for Pablo Lopez because you can build a rotation for the future with Pablo Lopez and Brian Bayo.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the thought process that they need to have. Whether you can trade Sale or not, whatever. But if you can bring in Pablo Lopez, you're not going to have to pay Pablo Lopez big money for a while. So that's like, this is a team that needs to trade for Lopez just based on when we take a look at that team.
And then they need to extend them because I don't think their windows in the next 2 years. They would have to look. I feel like they really got to look for 5 years down the road. Like, they got to do. And I love Ross Atkins. I love Mark Shapiro, what they did with this team 5 years ago. They saw the team in 5 years. What do we need to do now to set us up for that? And they did. And that's what the Red Sox need to do as well.
Yep. That is the deal. And I'm just looking at their top prospects too. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, they got some ballers. Marcelo Mayer looks like but Marcelo Mayer's 2 years away, maybe. Tristan Casas is ready now. I don't know. It's just Boston's in a bad spot.
You know what they could do, guys? They could just pull a Rangers. I looked at the Rangers prospects 2 years ago. The Rangers had no one on their team. They had one prospect in the top 100. I still remember this. One prospect in the top 100, and he wasn't even in the top 60. That was 2 years ago, and and nobody good on their team, right? Like, no one was good on their team 2 years ago. They blew all the money in the world, and now they're contenders. So, you know what? If Boston really wants to go balls to the wall, buy everyone next season, and you'll be back.
I think they have to fire their management and then put in someone who's willing to do that.
Also, shout out to Carol here with the super chat donation here saying, just wanted to say you guys are doing a great job. How many wins do you think the Blue Jays are going to get this year? Will we get the playoffs next season? Quickly, on your feet, Jimmy, how many wins for the Toronto Blue Jays next year?
Give me 94.
All right, I'm going 95.
I'll go cool 93 again. We're going to be exactly what we were.
Okay.
as long as we have more wins than the Rangers, because I think that's what it's going to boil down to.
Than the Rangers?
I do. I think that in the American League, the Yankees and Blue Jays, I think you can punch a ticket for postseason. Mm-hmm. Boston's a mess. Tampa, maybe, probably.
We'll be around.
Baltimore, I don't know. When I look out west, though, we're looking at all these wild card spots, I think that the Blue Jays need to win more games than the Rangers, because I think the Blue Jays, we're looking at wild card spots. If the Blue Jays can't win the division, we're looking at wild card spots. I can just see it coming down to the end, and then the Blue Jays have like a 2-game lead over the Rangers for one of the final playoff spots. And if we get to that point again, just got to beat out the Rangers.
So are you saying that you think Rangers are a good favorite for wild card? Is that what
I think? I think the Rangers are going to be fighting for the wild card. So I think. Let me think. I'm pulling this off the top of my head. I'm digging through like Boston prospects while we're talking about this. What do we got? We've got 6 teams that make the postseason, right? 3 division winners and 3 wild card teams. Yeah. So I'm still probably going to lean towards Blue Jays to not win the East. I'm going to go with them to be a wild card team. So now we're fighting the other wild card teams. I think Seattle is a wild card team, no doubt about it, right? Yeah, so now if Seattle is there, there's 2 more wild card spots. And who's the other wild card teams? I think we'll get back to another spot where there's only 1 team from the Central. I think that's pretty clear, pretty hands down, that it's whoever wins the Central is in. I don't think we'll have any wild cards out of the Central. And then we're getting down to, is it Tampa? Is it Texas? And those will be the other teams. Obviously, again, Seattle mixed in there. But if we're talking about wild card teams, I think Seattle gets in. And maybe Toronto's the best wild card team, and this doesn't matter. But when I think about that third potential wild card team, I think I would give it to Texas over Tampa.
It's close. Wow. I think I would do the same, actually. I made a hot take that Tampa goes under 500 this year, literally like a few minutes ago. Like in another video we did. You know?
Yeah. We're locked in. We're locked in and we don't even know it. It's great.
I feel like I can't just give my 2 cents. It's just like they were so injured last year, you know? Mm-hmm. I still believe in their method until once they're fully healthy and they suck, then I'm out.
Sure.
I'm out.
I also just to not to, like really derail anything here, but those White Sox, they could very easily bounce back and be scary once again. It wouldn't shock me if they want to be good at baseball again.
It wouldn't shock me either.
The pitching is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Lucas Giolito took such a step back last year.
Oh my God, bro.
So bad.
He's got to get back. Yep. He's got to get back on track. You've also got a Lance Lynn situation. When you're entering your age 36 season, there's question marks.
Yes.
So Lance Lynn, and I'm not shaming his body type, but that body type, I would think has a propensity to break down more rapidly than a Justin Verlander body type.
He's a bigger boy. He is a bigger boy.
He's a big boy. So you could see him just fall down. Mike Clevenger, I don't know what you're going to get from Mike Clevenger. Michael Kopech. Mike Kopech's good. Cease is the beast, right? Yeah. After that, it's really going to come down to who else steps up. Do you get another good year out of Lynn? Can Giolito bounce back? Can you get anything from Clevenger? I think the White Sox pitching is going to be the make or break because they'll have the lineup. They'll be able to hit.
Yeah.
It's about the pitching.
Agreed. Anything else, Jimmy, that we want to say on that damn baseball show?
What do we got? We've covered it all, right? We covered Story. We've covered the mess that is the Red Sox. I'll follow up on. I'll just say one last thing on the Red Sox because I was digging through the game, looking at prospects, and this is what happens when you don't make up your mind about what you want to be. Are you going to be a team that builds up prospects? Are you going to be a team that spends money on free agents and goes big? Or are you going to try to live somewhere in the middle? I kind of look at what they did last year at the trade deadline as the perfect example as to they just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
They don't know what their identity is. They were selling. They traded Christian Vasquez, but they were buying. They bring in Tommy Pham, and they don't trade. Weird. They didn't trade Bogarts. They didn't trade Eovaldi. If you're going to try to build up prospects, then you got to trade Bogarts and Eovaldi. If you're going to sign free agents, well, then you don't trade them and you re-sign Bogarts. This Red Sox situation is exactly what you get when the front office doesn't have a clear-cut direction, and that's where we're at. So when we talk down about the Red Sox, it's not that we're trying to hate on Boston or fire up any Red Sox fans. It's that this is what this team's supposed to be. Go out and buy the free agents. develop a top prospect or two, bring them up along the way. But this is a team that has the money. They have the financial means to go get and keep your stars. You can't go through this. You can't be trading Mookie Betts.
No.
You can't be losing Xander Bogaerts. That's not this team.
See,
So that's
I
the problem with Boston.
saw a route. I saw an avenue when they made that Mookie Betts trade where I was like, okay, I understand. I understand what you're trying to do, but they didn't follow up with that.
Nope.
You know, they trade away the star. They bring in, Alex Verdugo. They dump the David Price contract. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go a little bit younger. We're gonna bring up prospects. Let's see if we can bring in some guys on the other in next free agency or the future free agencies to complement them. And they didn't. And that's the problem. And they didn't bring any pitching in. That's the problem.
And they told their fan base, the message to the fan base is we're not going to be able to sign everybody. We got to get David Price's contract out of here. We got to get Mookie Betts out of here so that the next wave of top prospects, top players that are coming up, we can sign them and lock them in. And then they don't get it done with Xander Bogaerts.
Exactly.
So it's just this roster, when you look at it, it just makes you scratch your head. And the reason is exactly what we've seen. Again, the trade deadline this last year is a perfect example. If you're trying to figure out what are the Red Sox, they are a team that don't know what to do. Are we buying? Are we selling? Are we bringing up prospects? Are we spending big for free agents? We don't know. We'll just do whatever we feel like that day. It's good that they got the Devers deal done. I applaud them for that, but it is an absolute mess. I have to encourage everybody that's here. I got about 200 people here. Thank you all for being here. Can we get a like spike? We're 32 likes away from 100. Everybody that is here, if you could hit your like if you have not yet and get me up to 100, I would so appreciate it. Hit that like, everybody. We're 29 away. We can get there in the next couple minutes. For those of you that haven't used your like yet, if you could hit it now and get us there. Let me get final thoughts from you guys on this Blue Jays situation. Belt, Varsho, are you happy? Let's say they don't add another swing and miss guy. Are you happy with the offseason?
We gave it like our ratings the other day, and both Adam and I said currently we're at a B+. We'd love to see some more swing and miss guys come in. That would be really nice. And frankly, other than that, all we're really looking for, like, unless we really want, like, if we did trade for Pablo Lopez and I like the deal, like, obviously that would blow me away. But if we're being realistic here, give me one more bullpen guy, swing and miss, and let's get the conversation of Guerrero extension, Bichette extension. Like, can we just
Can we start that?
Can we start that? Like, I just want to see a report of they're talking, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even need to happen this offseason. I just want to know that we're doing that.
We want to do that. The statements made by Ross, hey, we are now talking to Vladimir. You know, we have thought of some offers. We're going to be in discussions for the next few months. Like that. We haven't seen any of that. And I think to also comment on the B+ rating, it's not like we really added. We kind of retooled our team a lot. You know, we already had a really good roster. We send away guys. We bring in guys. We sign guys. And it feels, I really broke this down in a couple of video rooms where I looked at the WAR. I'm trying to compare the previous team's WAR per game and this team's WAR per game. But that's all numbers. We're not going to see the results until they see them on the field. But it feels like it's going in the right positive directions of run prevention while still staying competitive with the lineup. So I think B+ is pretty accurate.
B+ feels right. Yeah. You know, B+ feels about right. And I'm with you on the Vladdy. With Devers getting the type of contract and money he got, I think that would honestly be best case scenario for the Blue Jays if they could do the Devers contract or something close to it. That Devers contract isn't even bad on years. Like they actually for the bashing that we've done to the Red Sox front office have to tip the cap to what they've done because they hit a home run on the Devers contract. Because when's that contract He's done it. What, that contract's done at age like 36 or 37?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
exactly.
I mean,
But this is the difference, Jim, between signing these big free agents and extending your young stars, right? Guerrero, he's 23 right now. If we were to sign him, like if we gave him a 13-year deal, then he's out when he's 36. And we're laughing, right? We are laughing if we could do something like that. That's why you got to get it done now. It's like be a Blue Jay for life.
Get the 13-year deal done now, so you're done at 36. Don't do it in a couple years when you got to deal with 38 and 39.
Exactly.
Because you know he's gonna break down.
Yeah.
He's gonna break down in the late 30s.
Yeah.
Cannot. That's smart. I mean, and same thing with Devers in Boston. Devers is gonna break down by the time he's 37, 38 years old. These guys are not as likely. That's why Philly goes and takes Trey Turner to 40. Because Trey Turner has a body type that should be able to stay out there, stay on the field. A little bit more of an athletic, slim kind of build. So you're not going to be having the same. Now he runs a lot, right? But
he
does. You don't have the same
consideration. Yeah,
you don't have the same wear and tear on the knees and things like that you will have if you're somebody like Vladdy or Devers. So this is. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Thank you, everybody that has hit the like. We are just a couple more likes away from 100. I see a bunch of people have also hopped in here in the last minute or two. Thank you all for coming in. We are on live every Tuesday. Me and the boys from Blue Jays Today, Adam and Nick, with That Damn Baseball Show. So thank you, everybody that has come in. Make sure to hit that like. Any final thoughts, guys?
I just love, I love the way that this offseason is going. I'm really excited to talk more freaking Marlins trades, everything like that. And you know what? From a content creator standpoint, I kind of selfishly want it to continue, but just from a human standpoint, just sign the fucking contract, Correa. Like, can we just end this goddamn thing already? Like,
oh my god!
Like, oh man, like, I'm so sick of seeing Correa updates.
I'm so tired of talking about Correa, and I can go into this a lot further, Jim, but well, I think we've said what we need to say tonight.
No, you're right. I can tell that people are the consumers of this content are ready to move on from.
I think honestly, it's like we're fatigued. You know,
totally.
Everyone's just fatigued, and we're like, just sign the contract. We don't care anymore. Whatever, man.
I agree. All right, Jimmy.
Exactly.
Well, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. We'll be back here next Tuesday, guys, at 8:30 for That Damn Baseball Show. Till next time, Jim. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, boys, and good night to everybody here on Ballcap Sports. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And yes, we will indeed catch you guys next week.
Peace.